Okay, so welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about checking for an element within a given list and then how we can replace elements in a list. Alright, so this is important because once we master those two concepts, then we will easily answer this question. Right, so let me tackle the first one. The first one is, how do we find out that we have a given element in a list? Right, so I've already prepared a list over here. It's called groceries, and I put in the elements: the bread, the sugar, the butter, the salt, and the meat. Right, these are my grocery list items. Right, so I want to find if I have omitted something or I have put all I needed. So let's say I wanted oil, and so I want to check whether I remembered to include oil in this list. So the simplest way you can do is you use the in operator. So we can say quotation marks. They could be double, single, or triple quotation marks. In this instance, I'm going to use single quotation mark. So I'm going to check whether oil in groceries, like this. So this will give me a boolean value, a true or false. So if I'm to run this, you'll see down here it says in your list, in this list, there is nothing like oil. Right, let me try again with something that is in this list. Let's say sugar. Okay, so if I run this, it says it's true. But one thing you have to realize is that Python is case sensitive. So if I'm to put sugar in caps like this, this will give me a false value because it's checking for uppercase sugar, and there is no uppercase sugar in this list. Right, with that behind us, we want to learn how to replace elements. Alright, so let's say I no longer want the bread. I want to replace it with oil. So what I have to do is, I no longer have to print down here. The first thing I want to do is I have to refer to the groceries, and then you guys remember we have indexes. A list is ordered, by the way, so it's ordered. It's a collection of ordered items. So I know on index 0 there's bread, on index 1 there's sugar, and then butter and salt and meat. So I want to replace this bread with oil. So I will say on index 0, now assign this value. So it's gonna assign the oil. So now to check whether it has been assigned, I have to print the groceries. Save and run. You see down here, it gives me a new list now. It says on index 0 now you assigned oil, so now we remove the bread and we put in the oil, as you guys can see. Alright, so this is how you can actually replace items in a list. You have to point to the index, okay, the position where you want to replace, and then you give the value that you want to replace it with. Right, so over here I've pointed to index 0, and I want to replace that index with this value, and boom, I have it. Okay, so going back to our exercise, this will give us some power to answer this question. But before I get into that exercise, I want to talk about using this same in operator in a string and create a string called name. This is my name. I want to put in Sadson as usual. Let me zoom in so that you guys can see. Okay, so now I'm going to use the same concept, using the in operator to find or look for a particular item. In this instance, we're looking for a particular letter in this name. So we can print, let's say I want to look for A. Remember to put this in quotation marks because these are strings in name. Okay, this is the name of the variable in this variable or in this container. Is there an A in this container? Save this and run this. You see down here, it gives me a true because there is an A in this container. All right, let's say I replace this with a different, a letter that is not existent. Save this and run this. You see it gives me a false. Okay, there is no P in this name section, right? But if I include a P at the end, run this, you see it gives me a true because it recognizes that there's a true. It checks for these letters and then try and match with this value that we give here. All right, so done with that. Let's continue. Let's try and answer this question. All right, so what's the result of this quad? We have nums 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. These are in descending order. So we have a list with numbers, 6 numbers. And then here there's an assignment here. This is assigning a value to a given index. So on index 0, we're going to replace this 10 with nums 1 minus 5. Which value is on nums 1? Which element is 9? So here it's going to be 9 minus 5. So here is going to be a 4. Here the 10 is going to be replaced by a 4. So here we use the if statement. If 4 in nums, now we have a 4. Print num3. Num3, let's see, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, it's 7, or we're going to print a 6. So in this case, this is true, so we're going to print a 7. And if I'm to check out this, boom, you see that's the correct answer. Alright, so in our next lesson, we're going to look at the not in operator. So I want to thank you for your time. I'll see you in our next lesson. For now, I'm out. Bye-bye.